Well, let's get reaction now from the federal government on the growing list of European nations suspending the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine. That's the one we have 50 million doses on order. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg joins us now from Canberra. Treasurer, thank you so much for your time this morning. When people wake to news that France, Germany and Italy are some of those pressing pause, you have to ask, why aren't we?
Well, the World Health Organisation and the European equivalent of the TGA have both confirmed the effectiveness of the AstraZeneca vaccine and have said they have no evidence of that causal link between the vaccine and blood clots. And let's not forget, Ali, that in the United Kingdom they have successfully rolled out that vaccine, more than 12 million doses. They haven't seen that pattern or those trends in those people who have received it. And just yesterday, the Prime Minister, the Health Minister, the Chief Medical Officer, myself and other senior members of the government talked about the vaccine rollout, and the Chief Medical Officer confirmed that it will proceed. So we have, of course, the data available to us, and that data says that it's safe and effective to distribute that vaccine, which we'll do. So
how is it that the data that we're looking at and analysing is so different to these other countries? Because it's not just one or two countries in Europe, Treasurer. How is their advice, health advice, so different to ours?
Well, as I said, the European equivalent of the TGA has said that the vaccine is effective, and they have said that there's no causal link. Now, those governments will take their own decisions, we'll take ours. What we do know is that Australia has a unique capacity to manufacture the vaccine here under licence with CSL, and that vaccine will be rolled out across the country in accordance with the timetable that the Prime Minister and the Health Minister have already made public.
All right, you're hoping that $12 billion in tax cuts will offset the end of JobKeeper this month. Who will get it, how much and when?
Well, if you're a teacher or a nurse watching your show this morning and you earn $60,000 a year, you'll pay $2,160 less tax compared to what you did back in 2017-18. This is a result of the tax cuts that the Coalition has legislated. They focus on lower and middle income earners. They're very substantial. We still have phase 3 of the tax cuts that still are yet to come in. That's where we abolish a whole tax bracket, and that's where 95% of Australian taxpayers pay a marginal rate of no more than 30 cents in the dollar. So this is significant structural tax reform, which is also fundamental to our values and our principles, namely that Australians should earn more and keep more of what they earn.
The problem is, if you don't have a job, you don't pay tax, or you don't get a tax cut, what happens to those people?
Well, firstly, more than 10 million Australians are getting the benefit of these tax cuts, and that's good news because they'll also spend that money helping to create jobs across the economy. When it comes to those Australians who are out of work, our focus is to get them into work. And the good news is that 94%, Ali, of the 1.3 million Australians who either lost their jobs or saw their working hours reduced to zero at the start of the crisis are now back at work. I mean, at the height of the pandemic, Treasury told me that the unemployment rate could reach as high as 15%. That's more than 2 million unemployed. Today it's at 6.4%, and we know that jobs are being created even as we cut off some of those emergency supports or taper them down. That is a significant sign that the economy is recovering and recovering well.
I mean, I think we all agree, obviously, JobKeeper can't continue forever, but we are hearing from employers that when JobKeeper ends, they will have to lay off staff. We know that some of the hardest hit by the pandemic are industries that are dominated by women. So you've got retail, you've got travel agents. Is there any further help for them?
Well, we've already announced significant extra support for travel agents. When it comes to the broader tourism sector, as you know, we announced a very significant $1.2 billion package, which is designed to have not just low fares, but also low-cost loans as well. And when it comes to the retail sector, we have seen lots of people starting to come back into work. When it comes to women, 53% of the jobs that have been created since the pandemic hit have gone to women. And of course, we want to get that number even higher, and we want to get workforce participation for women back to where it was pre-pandemic, which was at a record high, and where the gender pay gap was at a record low. So there's still a lot of work to do. The road ahead will be bumpy, but JobKeeper was always meant to be a temporary payment. It was always an emergency measure, Ali. It was initially for 6 months, went for 12 months. It's the most expensive program that any Australian government has ever undertaken. And if we leave it in place, it will be counterproductive because it will prevent the efficient allocation of workers to different roles across the economy.
And I find it really interesting. We're sitting here talking about $12 billion in tax cuts. Once upon a time, that would have sounded like a lot of money, but now, I mean, we throw those numbers around all the time, don't we? I want to talk to you about the March for Justice rally yesterday. You didn't make an appearance and neither did the Prime Minister. Do you think that was a missed opportunity? Because it doesn't help people's belief that your government has a problem with women.
Well, the Prime Minister and I don't make a habit of going to marches, but the Prime Minister did offer to meet the organisers. It was a good faith. It was an offer made in good faith, and it would have been a good opportunity for those organisers to sit down with the Prime Minister and take them through their concerns. Our government is acting. We've committed $1 billion already to tackling domestic violence. It's a national scourge and it's also a national challenge. We're creating safe places. We are putting in place more counselling and we've of course got other targeted support, and we've just recently released a new information campaign which is critical to building awareness across the community, because the numbers, Ali, are absolutely horrific. 1 in 4 Australian women over the age of 15 are going to face intimate partner violence. Now, that is something which is certainly not good enough, and it is something we are acting on.
Does your party have a problem with women, an issue with women?
Absolutely no. I mean, the most high-profile woman in politics across the country right now is the Premier of New South Wales, Gladys Berejiklian, a proud Liberal, and obviously doing a wonderful job as the Premier of New South Wales.
All right.
Our party, when it comes to women, has been a party of firsts.
OK. Treasurer, thank you for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. Thanks. Well, still to come, the drug-free solutions to sleep, the simple changes you can make to get